exercise 19. And now things are getting very interesting. So you just had your experience with functions. You're making functions. I'll reiterate again. They're just like command line scripts. They're just like Python scripts that take arguments. They're kind of like mini ones. And you do the indent, and that puts the code there. They're super fun. They're the basis of almost every kind of programming out there. In this one, we're going to actually pass some numbers around and do some math and print some stuff. So this is pretty simple. I'm going to type this in really quick, and then we're going to explore it. Okay, so what we have now is an error. I type these in really fast, and I've been typing code for a long time. So I'm pretty good, but even still, I make really common errors. It is super easy to make errors. Programming languages are just hard to use. So don't fret it if you make an error. You make an error, so what? Fix it. Not a big deal. And don't let people criticize you for making errors. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has awful code they're not proud of. So the only people who tend to insult other people's code and point out minor errors are people who don't really code that much. Now, once you have this typed in, notice that what we're doing is we're making one function, but we're sort of solidifying the idea that you can combine any of the things you've learned so far in any creative ways you want. A fundamental thing about programming is that it's the process of combining. It's actually linking things together and combining concepts and molding them together and making them interact is a fundamental, just core concept in programming. In this case, I'm taking the concepts of variables, functions, math, and variables with math and combining them all and printing and using them in any way that I want. All right. Now, if I run this, it'll be pretty straightforward. And there we go. Nothing really fancy to it. It just goes and prints the function each time. And notice I'm just adding things together and doing stuff. Now, when you go through this code, I want you to do the English comments thing above. Make sure you definitely go through all this study drills. And more importantly, make sure that you understand how functions are happening and how the variables flow between them. So if you don't know that, you're going to get more practice with this, but how did this variable, amount of cheese, become cheese count in the function? Now, we get into this later, but try to guess, try to figure that out. Like, struggle with that a bit. It'll help you own it and understand it. If you have to, print things out. Like, actually add extra print statements. For example, I could do this. I could go like, okay, I can say print amount of cheese before function. Actually, that's wrong. Do it this way. Print okay, so that's what it is before. And then to trust that it is, I can say cheese count in function and change that to cheese count. So I know what it is in the function. And then I can come back down here and do print amount of cheese after function. Okay, so this would be a technique you would use if you have no idea what that variable is. And also, when you debug code, you have to use variables and printing and checking the contents. Just staring at the code doesn't do anything. You can't debug a piece of software by just staring at it. You have to take it apart. You have to add print statements. You have to like basically modify it to figure out what's going on. So if I rerun this, now I can see here's my amount of cheese after function, and then amount of cheese in the function, and then, oh, sorry, it's up here, sorry. Yeah, amount of cheese before, and then cheese count in the function, and then amount of cheese after. And then I know cheese count in the function is here too. So this would be the actual place where that particular code was called. So I can do print statements to debug that, and I can see that it's the same number going through. So anyways, try some of that out. If you don't know what's going on, English comments above each line of code, every line of code, and then print out what you think it is and run it and see if you're getting the right prints. Another trick to do is sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between your prints and theirs. So you can do this. You like put a couple of those there. And that way you kind of know which ones are your lines. So see, I can see, oh, okay, that's the amount of cheese and cheese count in the function. A little easier to see in the terminal while you're looking at it. All right, that's the end of exercise 19. See you later.